Good evening. It's great to see all of you. This is Leadership.Nuggets brought to you by Leadership and Team Essentials. My name is Millicent Kaunda and I'm the director at Leadership and Team Essentials. Today we are going to look at leadership and define leadership and who a leader is. Now, the term leadership is most of the times misinterpreted. And John C. Maxwell, a very renowned author, describes leadership as influence. In other words, leadership is not a position. It's an ability to influence people towards a common goal such that they will be able to follow you. Now, if you consider yourself a leader, then at one point you look behind you and you find nobody is following you. John C. Maxwell says that you are just taking a walk. Therefore, for you to be an effective leader, you must have a vision that is worth following, because people will only follow you if they have a rough idea of where you are taking them. There's a difference between leadership and management. Leadership will involve new ideas. Leadership will involve a vision or an aspired end, whereas management is mainly maintaining status quo. A leader, therefore, is a person who rallies people to move towards a vision or a goal. Now, what's a vision? A vision is an aspired future. In other words, at this point, you are at position A, but you don't like that position A very much. You are thinking you ought to have been at position C. Now, a leader is able to well articulate what position C looks like, and position C normally comes in the future. So they are able to articulate, they are able to describe, they are able to define what position C will look like, and that is what we call a vision. Therefore, a leader will be able to define it to the people whom he wants to be his followers in such a way of clarity that when they start following, they have a rough idea of where they are headed to. When we read the Bible, I'm a Christian, but when you read the Bible, it says that where there is no vision, people perish. But I want to bring something closer home today, that in the current dispensation and generation, people will not wait to perish together with you. If they realize you are visionless, you could be a leader in a company, you could be a leader in a church, you could be a leader in a nation, you could be a leader in a political party. If your people realize that you are visionless, they will not wait and stay there so that they can perish with you, but they'll end up scattering and leaving you until you do not have followers. Then you will perish on your own. A vision, therefore, helps a leader to be able to define their short-term and long-term goals. Because if you cannot define where you're going, then you won't even know when you have reached that place. A leader has a vision and a conviction that a dream can be achieved. In other words, for leaders, there is no position of impossibilities. They believe all things are achievable, all things can be done. And so, even as they come up with a vision, later they will sit down and start working on strategies of how to achieve the vision that they have articulated. Many times, most people, when they're starting up companies or they're starting businesses, you hear someone saying, I cannot be able to start this business because I don't have capital to start the business. But I want to bring it to you today that the first thing you need is not capital. You need a vision. If you have a good vision, it will attract ideas, it will attract people, and it will attract resources. That is the first thing you need. And you might have a lot of capital, but because you did not even know what you are up to, or what you want to do with that capital, at the end of the day, it will not be multiplied and you won't have achieved anything. So of great importance to a leader is that they must have a clear vision. A vision that they can be able to describe to the people that they want to be their followers. If this vision is clear and very precise, that it can be memorized by the people who are following him, then this vision will be able to pull ideas. It will be able to pull people, and it will be able to pull resources. Now realize that when you bring people along after giving them an articulated vision, these people are the ones that will be able to come into your organization with great ideas that will help you get to the vision that you had articulated. One of my greatest leaders, a person I consider the greatest leader that has ever lived, is Jesus Christ. A time came when he went by the Sea of Galilee, and he finds men who were fishing, who had fished all night. And then he tells them to throw their net into the sea during the daytime. And after they were able to catch of fish, when they caught so much, he tells them, now I want you to follow me. Realize, a leader wants people to follow him or her. So Jesus, the greatest leader that ever lived, is telling these people, I want you to follow me. And he does not leave it there, but he tells them what he is going to make them, what he will convert them into. Because in most cases, when you attract followers, there's a question that will always be in their minds. And the question is, what is in this thing for me? And so Jesus already knew that this question was going to come. So he tells these people who later became his disciples that follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Now, these people had been used to fishing fish, but this idea of fishing men looked such a great idea. They had never thought that people could actually become fishers of men. And because of this, they were able to follow Jesus. Now, you as a leader, you can learn very many great truths from this great leader who ever lived. When you're picking your team, when you're bringing in people whom you want to follow you, what are you telling them? When you're starting your small company, or when you have been given a position of leadership in a department, in a section, and you sit in that seat, then what are you going to tell the people whom you are supposed to lead? You must be able to define in clarity where you are taking them. Because if they don't know where you are taking them, the path will look too dark for them. They won't be able to follow you for a long time. What am I saying? Leaders set direction. And leaders build an inspiring vision and create something new. There are leaders who are able to articulate visions in the past. And because of those visions, people believed in the visions. Ideas came in and resources came in. And some of their ideas are what we are enjoying today. So as a leader, you want people to follow you. Where are you taking them? What are you willing to make them? Because they'll always ask this question. What is in this thing for me? Something else we need to realize is this, that leaders create paths where there has not been any other path. Therefore, a leader is not a person who is a coward. A leader is a person who is able to get into that bush where he cannot see any trail that has ever been. And he tells himself, I am going to create a trail so that the people who are coming after me will be able to follow this path and get to their destination. You have been leading in your organization. My question today is, where are you taking your people? Number 2 is this. If you're a leader, the vision that you're communicating to the people, is it worth pursuing? Is it worth pursuing? Because our followers will calculate. They'll make very calculated decisions and ask themselves this one question. So after I've followed this leader, what will be there next? Your vision must be very convincing and worth pursuing. Like if you're getting into politics, what is your manifesto? What is in there for the people whom you will want to vote for you? Putting aside every other charisma, what will be that particular thing that you will sell to your people so that they can vote for you? If it's an organization you are starting, and I want to speak specifically to the young people here now, those who are coming up and they feel like they cannot get into employment, they want to create their own jobs. It's a great thing you're doing, but you must be able to articulate in clarity your vision. If it is a technology company that you are creating, what exactly are you going to be involved in? You must say that very, very clearly for people who are going to be following you. Remember, I told you in the beginning that people will not wait to perish with you. If they realize that your vision is not worth pursuing, they'll start dropping out one after the other, one after the other. But if it is a vision that is worth pursuing, though you go through hard times, because startups normally go through a hard time, you'll find people who are willing to stick on with you. People who are willing to stay on through the journey because they can see light at the end of this tunnel. So there must be a vision when a leader is seeking for followers. The other thing that there must be in existence is a mission. You're telling us we are going to go to point C, but the question is, how are we going to go to that point C? So you have to define your mission. And what is a mission? A mission is what an organization exists to do. An organization exists to do. Like for the media houses, they would be able to say, we exist to bring news and entertainment to the general public. A church would have a vision and they would say, maybe, we exist to make Jesus known to the people. And then they define the area. Maybe a company like Safaricom would have a vision like, we exist to provide communication to the general public. And so you must be able to articulate what you exist to do. What you exist to do. Then develop strategies. Strategies. How are you intending to accomplish this thing that you exist to do? Those strategies must be put in place very, very clearly, because the strategies is what will help the people who are following you in implementation. If they don't have strategies, then you might start a company in January and you're thinking because you communicated the vision, it is all done. But by the time you're getting to December, nothing will have been accomplished. You will still, if you employed people and you are paying them, you will still be paying them, but there is no job that has been done. And it's not because they're underperformers, but because you have not clearly stated the strategies that they need to use so that you get moving towards the place where you had stated you are moving to. Now that's a leader. You have to state your vision, you have to state your mission, and you have to state your strategies of being able to fulfill your mission and get to your vision. Welcome to this great idea of being a leader. And I want to end by saying this one thing, that leaders are made, they are not born. Leaders are made. If you want to be a great leader, you must stop and tell yourself that you're going to develop yourself. It's a deliberate action that you will be taking. Develop yourself. You will read widely. You will listen widely. You will not just sit and wait for leadership to happen. It does not happen. It takes development. And that development will not be done by somebody else for you. You will do it yourself. You have to set aside time so that you develop yourself to a point where you become a great leader. Thank you so much. Next time, we will be looking at how you can move from good to great. Because good is always the enemy of great. Maybe you have reached to a point where you're telling yourself you're good enough in the thing that you have been doing. But I want to remind you, good can never be good enough. You have to put good aside so that you can start pursuing great. So that will be our topic for next time. How to move from good to great. Have a great night and have a great time of leadership in your organization. Thank you so much, and thank you for tuning in and for staying on. God bless you.